We've all seen the headlines. Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in the Bahamas after the U.S. files criminal charges. Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in Bahamas. Sam Bankman-Fried charged with money laundering, wire fraud, and securities fraud. And while the charges and the arrest don't really surprise most people, the timing kind of do. A lot of people, myself included, were expecting the charges to take a lot longer, frankly. They definitely came quicker than anticipated. So, what's really going on? What's behind the timing of these charges? Why now? Well, I think a few things contributed to the arrest happening right now. Number one, the Senate hearing. So if you remember the Senate hearing, it was going to be Tuesday, today, and then Sam Bankman-Fried was asked to testify several times. At first, he said that he was not going to testify before the Senate committee. Then he changed his answer. He said he was going to testify, but just virtually. Then he said he was going to testify virtually, but he was going to plead the Fifth Amendment, essentially, and a bunch of questions and be very limited to what he was going to talk about and not talk about anything related to FTX's collapse, mostly. And then in a Twitter Spaces yesterday afternoon, Monday afternoon, some people asked him, so why are you just attending virtually? And he said, I'm overbooked. He put this in the Twitter Spaces run by Unusual Whales. Now, when the Justice Department is considering filing major charges against you, saying that you're too overbooked to attend the Senate hearing in person, probably not the right thing to say. Probably not. So I think that kind of rankled the authorities slightly, because then 5-6 hours later, the charges came. A few other things. Sam's been playing video games. He's been playing League of Legends during a lot of these Twitter Spaces with people. It's just, there's kind of been this air that he just hasn't really been taken this seriously. He's had this laissez-faire attitude, and when it comes to the authorities, that kind of stuff doesn't work in your favor. Number two, second reason for the timing of the charges, it has something to do with John J3. So this is the new CEO of FTX. He took over a month ago, right after the company filed for bankruptcy, and Sam Bankman-Fried stepped down. So he made some harsh comments towards Sam Bankman-Fried yesterday, Monday. What did he say? He said, here it is. He basically said there was just tons and tons of unacceptable management practices. FTX went on a spending spree from late 2021 to 2022, and approximately $5 billion, not million, billion, was spent by a myriad of businesses and investments, many of which may only be worth a fraction of what was paid for them, so just bad investments. That might refer to a lot of the real estate investments in the Bahamas, properties they bought. He also said loans and other payments were made to insiders in excess of $1 billion. That pretty much refers to the media groups he would donate to, politicians, celebrities, friends, people like that. What else? He also said, as we all know, customer assets were commingled between Alameda and FTX. He also said FTX International and FTX US were operating as one exchange, where Sam Bankman-Fried repeatedly said they were operating as separate entities. That was not true. He also said the client funds were not only commingled, but they were used to do margin trading on Alameda's part, exposing them to massive losses. So the trades that they put the customer funds into were high risk and not panning out, apparently, despite Sam Bankman-Fried being known as a very good trader. But one of those damning things that he said, the new CEO, this kind of went under the rug, but this is pretty big here. He cited a secret exemption of Alameda from certain aspects of FTX.com's auto liquidation protocol. So that means when FTX Alameda were investing their own assets and the customer assets in these margin trades, I guess it's some sort of exemption that didn't make some of the trades auto-liquidated, like they had some sort of early warning sign, and they just weren't liquidated. If that's true, he didn't really go into details, but if along that lines is true, that's highly, highly illegal. That's like a casino sort of fixing the rules of a blackjack game to favor them more than the players, something like that. That's a big deal right there. I'm sure we'll get into that more later. Now, the new FTX, he has been criticized a lot, so you have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. So I don't really think his comments had too much to do with the arrest happening the same day. Remember, Bahamas government blasted him earlier in the week, about a week ago, because he had originally said the Bahamas was taking too much of the assets that were left on the exchange, whereas those should have been sort of put into the pool that then the liquidators were going to take and distribute evenly, but that turned out to not be true. So the Bahamas government already blasted this guy himself. So for now, we're going to kind of put him on sort of standby. I don't really think his comments played that much to do. I think it was much more so the Senate hearing. And Caroline Ellison, so she is really factoring. A lot of people wondered what's going on with her. She has not been arrested yet. She did hire a lawyer. But a lot of people wondered, so could she be cutting a deal with the Justice Department? Because as we all know, she was spotted in New York City about a week and a half ago at a coffee shop in Manhattan. And then the charges were levied by the Southern District of New York. The Southern District of New York is in Manhattan, right where Wall Street is and right where Caroline Ellison was at this coffee shop. So could it be a coincidence? Sure. She doesn't really have that much of a connection to New York naturally. She started working at Jane Street Capital with Sam. That's in New York City. She's from Boston initially, so you'd think if she's come back to state, she'd probably go there, but she went to New York. So it could be a coincidence. There was another thing, this piece of information came out yesterday saying that 4 members of FTX's inner circle, Sam Bankman-Fried, Caroline, Gary Wang, and then a top engineer, they were all part of a secret chat group on Signal chat forum, and it was called Wire Fraud. That was the name they did. So how would they know about this? A lot of people think, well, maybe it was Caroline Ellison who spilled the beans on this, etc. That was just a little bit suspicious. So, I mean, do I think maybe, is Caroline Ellison maybe cooperating, and that's what led to the charges being, coming quicker than usual? I think there's a distinct possibility. Is it greater than 50% chance? I'd say probably. I think she could probably be working the angle. The sort of, not really scorned lover, but, the girlfriend, the dutiful girlfriend, who they were dating or hooking up, supposedly, they could work the angle. She was just, doing anything to impress the guy that she liked, that sort of stuff. Elizabeth Holmes could not work that angle whatsoever. She tried to, it failed. Caroline Ellison, it kind of would work a little bit more, so she might be playing that angle right now. And then other news. So this article came out yesterday here. U.S. Justice Department is split over charging Binance with money laundering. I guess some of the attorneys there think that they should. They do have enough evidence. They should charge. Some attorneys think they don't have enough evidence and they shouldn't. So they just put out this press release on Reuters yesterday. Is the timing a coincidence? Maybe. I'm not sure. I think they kind of put out this press release to say, yeah, FTX is our main sort of target right now. We're devoting all of our time to them. But, Binance, we're not going to forget about them. You're still sort of on our radar. Don't get a clean walk in the park here. We haven't quite made up our mind on you, but we're not forgetting about you. I think that was just the point of this press release here. And that's it. So hope you all enjoyed this little update video. Twitter is ablaze right now. The arrest news, it's just hit the news. It is just hit Twitter like bam, like nothing before here. So that's my take on it. Drop a comment down below. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow with a new episode. Ben Crypto signing out. Catch you later.